These 40 buses were bought primarily to take care of this new law that went in effect in the state of Texas. They passed a new law in September that if you live further than 2 miles from school, you're eligible for transportation. So consequently, this is why these 40 buses were bought.
Due to any type of integration
No,
system?
Sir.
It's just the 2-mile regulation?
Right. Most of these buses will be put on state-approved routes where some will get some monies back from the state of Texas on an approved route.
When will you implement these buses now?
We hope to do this around the 1st of February.
Is your business a pyramid type business?
No, it's not a pyramid. It was in the beginning, but we've changed them in laws, and we've already beat Texas in the Texas State Court one time a couple years ago. But it's just a way to get your name in the press by picking on me because I'm world known now, and so most of them hit us, and we sure tomorrow in court outcome will be in our favor. We've only lost 2 court battles in 2 courts out of 30.
So you're confident that you can win this one?
Yeah, we don't have any problem, and if we don't, we'll adjust to the law and keep going.
As everyone knows, we made some extensive surveys in 1968 and projected that about 65% of the airport travelers would come from Dallas, therefore 35 from Fort Worth area. So it doesn't add up that 65% would come from North Dallas, which would be traveling on the access in question.
Well, what then is the volume of traffic that would go to the regional airport from North Dallas?
Well, our studies in '68 indicated that the North Dallas contributed about 25% of the airport traffic of the 65% in Dallas County. So it's not as bad as one would be led to believe by the statements that were made.
Tomorrow, the Council will discuss a warning by the U.S. Department of Labor that the city officials aren't spending enough money. The Labor Department wants $259,000 allocated to new job positions by the end of the month. That much money is left of almost $500,000 received by Fort Worth last August under the Emergency Employment Act. If the money isn't used by January 31st, the Department of Labor says the money may be given to another city. Fort Worth City Manager Roger Lyon is to present a plan to the Council tomorrow which calls for $259,000 plus $522,000 more from a separate grant. New employees would be hired for the police and fire departments, the zoo, the library, and the Parks and Recreation Department. Most of the jobs will be considered as temporary positions. The major part of the plan is expected to be approved, enabling the city to spend the money that the Department of Labor won't spend on additional jobs, primarily for members of minority groups. Jim Green, Channel 8 News on the Move in Fort Worth.
Well, I did, but it wasn't the way I wanted to. I mean, I think I could have given it more if I'd have had more chance to think and to box, to move outside. Hell, we stood toe-to-toe for 4 rounds. I mean, I didn't have a chance to stay outside or anything. He was in and in and in. And, all I could think of was, well, let's jab twice, 3, and then, God, there he is again, right on me. So, yeah, I mean, I had to throw the artillery.
I find out that you also had a good right hand. You got a very good right hand. And really, not to say that the guy lost the fight fair and square. He's a good spoken about it. I would like to say that the guy got a good chance of being a champ because he got the heart and he got the punching power.
How many children do you have at home now?
I have 8 children altogether.
Your husband is on welfare, is that correct?
Yes, sir. He's got a bad heart and he's also a diabetic.
But you're still here helping raise money for the zoo fund on the weekends?
Yes, sir.
How much money have you raised so far?
Last week we raised $103.15, and this morning we have raised $50.
How do you get these items that you're selling?
They're given by donations from people all over that wanting to help the zoo, and they have no other way except by giving donations, and willing to sit out here and sell them for them.
The park board says that you fee-fo-fund people need to raise $100,000 to maintain the zoo this year at a free admission, again, for one more year. Do you think that if you raise that money this year, that maybe next year the park board will reconsider and keep the zoo open free of charge?
Well, I hope so, because it's been free all these years, and I think it should remain free.
Well, I would have to agree in part with the North Dallas Chamber's comment of last week insofar as the access itself not being provided by the time of the airport was open, but I'd have to disagree on the percentage that was claimed that would be affected.
Every time I fight a short man, I had a problem with him, and I know that the newsman.
The major story from City Hall today relates to Thanksgiving Square in the Dallas Central Business District. This morning, the City Park Board agreed on the concept plan for developing the area into a multi-million-dollar park. And then this afternoon, the City Council also gave its approval to the concept plan. The plan calls for developing the square into a split-level park that would exemplify the spirit of Thanksgiving. The proposed development would include a chapel, subsurface walkways, pools and waterfalls, planted trees, and other landscaping with connections to the city's planned system of underground pedestrian walkways. The park development is to be financed by private gifts through the Thanksgiving Square Foundation and by the nearly $500,000 approved by the City of Dallas for the project about 3 years ago. The location for the proposed park is bounded by Irvay, Pacific, and Bryan Streets, an area of a little more than an acre in size, which currently contains mostly buildings that are falling into a state of disrepair. With today's action by the City Council and the Park Board, the way has been cleared for demolition of the old buildings, and officials hope the actual construction on the park at Thanksgiving Square could begin sometime later this year. In one of the development worth mentioning from City Hall, it now appears there is agreement around here on the election date for the proposed bond issue of nearly $163 million, that it will not come in February as previously had been discussed, but more likely will come sometime after April the 1st. Jack Hill, Channel 8 News on the Move at the Dallas City Hall.
The Centex people have proven that they have the management talent and understanding of that we need, and the help that they can give us, and management, and financial strength that they can give to our company to continue its growth processes, perhaps accelerate our growth processes, give more opportunity for our people.
Will it change the makeup of Fox and Jacobs? Will it change your future plans?
No, I don't think it'll change them. In that context, the only way it will change our plans is speed up our plans, increase our opportunities faster.
Mr. Crossan, what will this merger do to Centex?
Well, of course, even though Dallas has been our headquarters, we have not been active in the Dallas home building market for some years. It does give us what we think is the best builder in one of the best markets in the United States.
The committee, in studying this situation, has determined that there are 5 recommendations that they would like to make to the City Council. These recommendations of this Transportation Advisory Committee are that first, public transportation service be provided in Fort Worth, and we strongly recommend that it be provided on a continuous basis. Second, that the City of Fort Worth acquire and own the public transportation system. Now, each of these points will be dealt with in greater detail as we continue. A private management firm be hired to manage and operate the system, that the present level of service should be maintained until a recommended 5-year action program of improvements can be implemented. And fifth, that capital improvement and daily operation financing be accomplished to ensure a viable transportation system.
Well, starting out, I would merely say that years ago, Amos and Andy started 3 things. Amos and Andy, the radio program, started for dentistry, the recall situation, where you go and see your dentist twice a year, you brush your teeth after every meal, and you don't eat sweets. Nowadays, through preventive dentistry, current research, we do not say this. This has been disproven. We say clean your teeth thoroughly once a day, every 24 hours. And by cleaning the teeth thoroughly, we're talking about cleaning in between the teeth, because brushes won't brush between teeth.
Okay, what do you do to clean between the teeth? What are you proposing?
Dental floss. Flossing of the teeth in between the teeth. And we wouldn't have the time to talk about techniques other than we use that, and around the teeth where the brush cannot reach, we have a simple little thing that's a toothbrush handle with 2 little round toothpicks, and we want to physically remove the bacteria from the teeth with something. A baby, it could be a Kleenex, it could be a cotton ball, it could be a Q-tip, wash rag, get the stuff off the teeth.